Aaron Donald will retire after next year. Ramsey's going to demand a trade, even though he's no good anymore. I don't know what happened to him. Okay, this guy was an elite. Okay, I remember these guys telling me last year he's the best corner in the NFL. And I said, he is not the best corner in the NFL. He's an overrated corner, overpaid, and doesn't shut up. Okay, he is not. And you saw it the last couple of weeks. He is horrible. And he can't. And you want to know something? When I look at the Rams as a whole, as an organization, they're just their owner likes the flashy things. With the stadium that they built, with the fans that like to beat the hell out of each other, during games. By the way, every single week I'm hearing that somebody's getting knocked out at the games. If it's not a Rams fan beating up a Rams fan, it's a Rams fan beating somebody else up.
Well, there's only a set limited amount of Rams fans.
It's
a very small sample.
It's despicable. I mean, go look on TikTok. Go on. I hate TikTok, by the way. You go to Facebook and the post that you see these Rams fans in these fights, it's always at a Rams game. Why? It tells you how delinquent and diluted that place is.
The most popular team in LA is the Raiders.
Horrible. It's a horrible disgrace.
Did you ever see they have a problem
I want to throw up.
with the road teams invading that stadium and just dominating the way the 49ers did in the NFC Championship game? That was great. Rivalry with Ticketmaster.
So I've been on for a little while now.
Yes, we're happy to have you.
You badmouthed Tom Brady and you badmouthed Jalen Ramsey.
Hold on. I didn't badmouth Tom Brady, okay?
Not the GOAT. He's not the GOAT.
Here's the thing. You guys weren't alive for Joe Montana, okay? You guys are kids, all right? I watched Joe Montana play in, the prime of his career. Yes, there was no salary cap.
Age. You look pretty good.
I'm 40, man.
Yeah, you look good, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But watching Joe Montana play, I had the opportunity to watch Peyton Manning in his, when he built his name as the elite quarterback that he turned out to be. Now, do I think Tom Brady's better than Peyton Manning? Yes. Now I do. He is. But to say he's better than Joe Montana, I don't know. Joe Montana, if he had Bill Belichick, and everybody's going to say, well, he had an elite coach, one of the greatest coaches of all time, the guy that created, the West Coast offense. Great. It is great. Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all time in any sport. In any sport. And it tells you, yes, well, has he won without Tom Brady? No. But there's reasons why he hasn't won with Mac Jones. And by the way, Josh McDaniels, if he stayed there with the Patriots this year, I say the Patriots win the division. I think the Patriots would have won the division this year against Buffalo. It has a lot to do with the way they structure the offense. When you have two guys right now as your offensive, you don't have one offensive coordinator. You have two idiots, okay? And two guys that one never ever coached as an offensive coordinator. One was a defensive player, a defensive coach, and the other one was a quarterback? I'm sorry, wide receiver coach, and then coached the Giants for 2 years, and he couldn't
coach the Giants.
Yeah, he couldn't speak to the fans. He couldn't speak to the press, and all he could say at the end of his firing is it was a good ride while it was lasting. Okay, to me, I think the Giants like to kick him right out of that office when they had the opportunity to do it. Okay, it's a disgrace. Okay, and to me, Josh McDaniels will have that job more sooner than later, because I do believe the Raiders will keep him this offseason because they can't do anything about it. But if he starts the season like this next year, not only is he going to be gone, 3 games in, they're going to fire him. There is no way with the money they spent in this offseason. And by the way, Renfro hasn't been healthy, but when he is on the field, you don't even know he's playing. Okay? So what does that tell you? You had Wes Welker. You had, Julian Edelman, and those two guys were guys that you love to throw the ball to. You have the same exact replica player on your team, and when he did play, you never saw him. You never see him on the field, or you never see him catch the ball. So it's embarrassing. It really is.
Yeah, they're making a mess out there. And you said it earlier, right? Football's a team sport, so I think Belichick deserves all the praise in the world for what he's done there, and he's done a great job. He's 100%. The greatest coach of all time. Mm-hmm. I think Brady still is the greatest
All right.
quarterback of all
That's your
time.
opinion.
I
Okay.
think it's hard to separate those things. I didn't get to see Montana. It's a different era.
Yeah.
And I think there's kids probably today already saying Patrick Mahomes is the greatest of all time, right? So like
He's not.
it's just what people are going to say.
Tom Brady is way better than Patrick Mahomes is. Okay. And as good as he is, when you see him on the field, he has the best offensive mind in NFL history. Okay. When you have that guy coaching you week in and week out, it's hard to say. And he finds these running backs, Pachua, whatever his name is. This guy he's becoming a star. In 3 weeks, this guy's running over defenses. He's making it look so easy. He finds these guys, and they turn into stars. I don't know how he does it, but he does.
And every year since Jamal Charles had to retire early, like they've always had like somebody else random that just breaks out of nowhere. And look at the playoffs too: Damian Williams, and then last year Jerick McKinnon. Like
has Kareem Hunt been that much better than he was leaving the Chiefs? No. I mean, he was an elite top 5 running back when he was with the Chiefs. Now he's with the Browns. Yes, he's playing with Chubb, who's better than he is. But when he does play, he's not the same running back he was when he was over there with the Chiefs because of Andy Reid. That's why. That's the facts. And he had Alex Smith throwing. Give me a break.
Andy Reid's not going to be there forever, right? Andy Reid's getting up there in age, like pretty up there in age. And, it's pretty obvious he's not the healthiest guy in the world. So who knows how long he's going to want to be there. I'm excited to see what Patrick Mahomes becomes after that because I think that'll really determine what his legacy is going to be. He's not, Mahomes doesn't have the same luxury that Brady had where he could have Belichick for almost 20 years, or maybe he did have him for 20 years. Like Andy Reid's going to retire at some point and Mahomes is going to be handed off to somebody else. And I think that's when we'll know what he truly is.
I know who's going to be handed off to him. Todd Bowles.
Come on.
I'm kidding. I don't know. Todd Bowles is never getting a coaching job again after this debacle. Okay.
No.
They have to figure out.
He's a great defensive coordinator.
I think Byron Leftwich should be the coach of this team next year, going into next year, whatever happens with Tom Brady. Now you're hearing that Tom Brady is interested on looking elsewhere for one more year, a final year. San Francisco, you've heard he always wanted to play there. Maybe any of the AFC teams. Maybe he goes back to the Patriots for one more year to try to win a championship with Bill Belichick. Could happen. Who knows? I don't know why he would. He's got $365 million sitting over there for Fox Sports as a play-by-play guy, which, by the way, he's never had any experience doing. So fail or not fail, the guy is going to be a very rich man. So what does he care about playing football anymore? That just shows you. Yes.
Do you know what I think it is? I think he is a guy that cares about his image and his legacy, right? And there's one record that he hasn't broken yet. There's one record that nobody's ever achieved, and that's winning a Super Bowl with 3 different teams as a quarterback, right? Nobody's ever done that. Him on the 49ers, that could happen. That's the situation. I think that's what he wants. I think that's what he tries to do. I don't know if the 49ers want him, but if they do, all signs point to that team being next year's Super Bowl.
I think that would be the only team he would take
Patriots.
less money to go to.
It's either them or the Patriots. I could see him going back to the Patriots. Everybody keeps saying he'll go to the Jets. He's not playing for the Jets. He's not playing with the Jets. He hates the Jets. The Jets hate him. Could you imagine the fans rooting for the same guy that demolished him year in and year out for 15 years? As a Jet fan, I would boo the Jets, okay? I am not going to sit there and root on a quarterback I couldn't stand for years, okay?
I mean, it happened with the Vikings with Brett Favre, so I guess anything's possible.
Yeah, well, I'm not doing that. As a Jet fan.
It was a hard time for me.
Yes.
Well, it was only a 1-year thing, luckily. They went to the NFC Championship game. They should have. I think Brad Childress blew that. I don't know why they were throwing the ball there. They could have won the game in regulation. But
Snug says he's already rich. Let me tell you something, Snug. If you go look at his net worth right now, because he took less money, yeah, he's worth $200 million. And by the way, he lost a lot of money on that, what do they call that, the coin thing, that investment
crypto
that fell
whatever,
off.
yeah.
Yes, the crypto that fell apart. I heard he lost like $50 million or something like that, okay? He's making $365 million for a 10-year contract, okay? It's more money that he's going to make from Fox Sports, and that's guaranteed. No matter what happens, if they fire him, that is a guaranteed $365 million he's going to get. If he likes it or he doesn't like it, he is going to get that money. So he is going to make more money in 10 years than he made in his 26-year career as a football player. What does that tell you about Fox and how desperate they really are? Okay, they're very desperate, and as they lost their dogmen to Fox, to ESPN and Amazon. Just Troy Aikman and what's his name again?
Joe Buck.
Joe Buck decide to take whatever they made, $20 million a year.
Anything's good than hearing less. Everything's better when you hear less Troy Aikman, though, so it's good.
I like Troy Aikman.
I don't know. He's very biased.
Why? You don't like Troy?
He's very biased to the Cowboys, I think, a lot of the time.
Really? I don't think he's biased.
I think he is.
I don't like Joe Buck more than Aikman. Joe Buck he's brutal.
We've had Joe Buck on this network, okay? And I like Joe. He's a personally, he's a good guy, okay? He really is. He's a good guy. He deserves every dime he's made as a broadcaster, play-by-play guy. Really is. I just feel that if you're going to tell me who's biased, I watched him, as a play-by-play guy for baseball, and I've seen him as a play-by-play guy for football. He is one of the most biased play-by-play guys I've ever listened to in professional sports. And everybody keeps saying that Aikman he's terrible, he's awful. I think Aikman is a great personality for TV. I think he knows the game. He sees the game for what it is. And I think he's a good face for wherever he works, Amazon, ESPN, or wherever he works. This is a guy that's a Hall of Famer. This guy was an elite quarterback at his position for years. What has Joe Buck been? An elite play-by-play guy who's never played sports in his life? Give me a break.
He should take the Tony Romo approach. The first Super Bowl he got to broadcast, which was ironically the Patriots-Rams one we were talking about earlier, he took a direct shot at the Cowboys right at the beginning.
And again, I'm not taking shots at Joe Buck. I love Joe Buck. He is a great guy. He really is. But if you're going to compare who I would want as my play-by-play guy, I'm taking Troy Aikman over Joe Buck. And why? Joe Buck was the one that Troy Aikman was the one that got the big contract from ESPN and Amazon before Joe Buck did. It was Aikman that obviously spoke to Amazon and ESPN and said, you have to sign him. That's the truth. Go look at it. Aikman was the one that parted ways with Fox. He was the one first. Then it was Buck. And that shows you a lot on what type of person Aikman is. He's a team player, and he wanted Buck to go with him. And he made Buck a lot of money. More money than Buck has ever made in his career as a broadcaster. And that says a lot about Troy Aikman and as a team player he is. So anyways, we really appreciate you, man, and joining us for over an hour. You're fantastic. What you do, and personality-wise, I'm surprised you don't do a podcast. I'm surprised you don't do a live radio show. I think you have a tremendous amount of knowledge when it comes to football, and you guys should look into that. I mean, not a podcast, even just starting a show. We'd love to bring you on our network and do something on our network. Maybe we could talk.
I appreciate that. We do have a podcast.
Oh, really?
We are the All 22 podcast. It's just talking about fantasy sports in All 22, right? So
okay.
All 22, for those of you that don't know, is a fantasy football game that uses PFF grading as the foundation for its scoring. So we are the only fantasy system out there that has offensive linemen. Like, think about fantasy football and think about Madden, and we merge those two things. So
wow.
If you guys ever wanted to play or check it out,
I'm gonna have to
try
definitely
that.
going to check it out. I'm definitely going to check it out.
So we do have a podcast, the All 22 podcast.
Okay.
You can find it on major platforms.
Why don't you send it to us? Why don't you send it to us? I would love to check it out. We really appreciate your time, as always. Congratulations, obviously getting married.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work, and Speedy will reach out to you in the next couple of weeks. I'd love to bring you on a panel of guys. That
we'll bring you and Ray together. There we
go.
We butt heads.
Oh boy,
that's great. We'll bring Ray. I remember
Packers
Ray.
fan and a Cowboys fan. What could possibly go wrong?
We'll get you guys on, and we'll get a panel of guys like we've done in the draft. After the draft, and we had a panel of guys and argue, where these guys went and what these guys are going to be. I would love to bring you in going into the playoffs on a panel of knowledgeable guys and where we think the playoffs are going to go and where it's going to lie with some of these players. But we appreciate you, Mr. Lombardi.
Looking forward to it, guys. Great show. Good luck with everything, and
thank you.
Stay safe and God bless your families.
Thank you.
You too.